The show begins by introducing Tian Sung-hao, a young photographer who is currently busy doing a romantic photo shoot when his colleagues inform him that the Asia Pacific's chief editor, Mr. Bai, has arrived and is waiting outside. Tian suggests the makeup artist do a touch-up on his models and goes to meet Mr. Bai. Tian approaches Mr. Bai and tries to introduce himself, but he is dumbfounded when Mr. Bai ignores him and disrespectfully spits chewing gum on his business card. Just then, Zhang Shua-er, who is a successful woman in the modeling industry, enters the room and goes straight to Tian. Mr. Bai notices her and tries to engage with her, but she states that she's there to see her husband, Tian. This embarrasses Mr. Bai as he had insulted Tian earlier. To make amends, he takes the ruined business card and apologizes for his behavior. But Zhang dismisses him and leaves holding Tian's hand, gets in their car, and lovingly kiss. The scene then shifts to Zhang's house, where Tian's mother Gina is preparing soup. She senses something is strange with the soup and asks Gina if she had added anything unusual to it. After some prodding, the woman confesses that she added pigeon's poop, believing it would help Zhang conceive a baby boy. This obviously angers Zhang, and she rushes to her bedroom. The next day at the office, Zhang tells her best friend Lily about the incident. Lily reminds her that Tian's mother has tried to harm her before and suggests that she divorce Tian and find happiness elsewhere. Right then, Tian calls Zhang, but she ignores his call. However, she remembers that she bought a high-quality camera lens for him and asks Lily to deliver it to him. Lily disses Tian, claiming that he takes photos of new girls in his studio and then flirts with them. Despite this, Zhang remains silent and asks Lily to deliver the lens as she has something more important to take care of. After some persistence, the cunning friend finally agrees. In the next scene, when Lily reaches Tian's office, she notices him being flirtatious with a young model. Disgusted, she confronts him and threatens to tell Zhang everything. As soon as she says this, Tian grabs Lily by the neck and pins her to the wall. He then tells her that he does not get pleasure from any other girl like he gets from her. Here it's revealed that Lily and Tian are engaged in an affair when he carries Lily to the bedroom and the two indulge in each other. On the other hand, Zhang, who is going for a postpartum checkup, is trying her best to contact Tian. However, he doesn't answer her calls because he is preoccupied with Lily. At the hospital, Zhang runs into a childhood friend, Jiang Qi. She learns that he has become a lawyer and is there to get some medicine for his ill father. Jiangqi asks why she's at the hospital, and upon discovering that she's there for a postpartum checkup, slams Tian for not being by her side. He then offers to accompany her as he has some free time. While the two are walking together, some of Gina's friends notice them and take pictures. The scene shifts to Tian and Lily, who are still relishing in their intimacy. In the midst of it, Lily asks Tian when he is going to divorce Zhang and marry her. The latter replies that it will take some time as he still wants to bleed more money out of Zhang before leaving her. Tian then placates Lily by saying that he loves her and that he has no interest in Zhang. Meanwhile, Zhang prepares to return home, and on her way, she repeatedly calls Tian. To her dismay, he still doesn't answer, but she dismisses it, thinking he's busy with his work. However, later, when Zhang arrives at the building, she notices Lily's car in the parking lot and wonders why she would be there this late. She then enters her apartment and hears some noise coming from her bedroom. She rushes to the room, but finds no one inside. Later, Zhang finds Tian and Lily in another room, pretending as if nothing had happened between them. However, Zhang notices a change in Lily's appearance. Her hair, which was tied up at the office, is now let down. Suspicion rises when Zhang hugs Lily goodbye and smells Tian's cologne on her. After she leaves, Zhang asks her husband if he's hiding something from her. Tian obviously denies it, and his mother also comes to his rescue, scolding Zhang for spending time with another guy, despite being married. Here we learn that Tian's mother has seen the pictures that were taken by her friends. Facing constant humiliation from Gina, Zhang becomes enraged and tells Tian that she can no longer live with his mother. Tian attempts to console her, but fails. After he leaves to talk to his mother, Zhang searches around her bed and is shocked to find a rubber hairband in the corner, confirming his infidelity. Despite her shock, she remains composed and starts monitoring Tian's behavior and actions. The following day, Lily mentions she has an appointment with a client and leaves the office. As she is leaving, Tian conveniently tells her that he has a photo shoot. Suspicious, Zhang decides to follow them. She tells him to a luxury hotel where Tian meets with Lily, and they passionately kiss in a room. Just as Zhang is about to catch them, Lily hides in the bathroom, and Gina enters the room unexpectedly. Tian manipulates the situation to make it seem like he is there to meet with his mother. Feeling guilty about how she has treated her mother-in-law, Zhang apologizes and leaves. She then heads to the hotel reception to pay the bill, but shockingly discovers that the room Gina is staying in is under Zhang's name, and a year's worth of billing has been tacked to her credit card. Shocked, Zhang leaves the hotel and calls her office, suggesting they call Lily for a meeting. A little while later, Zhang is stunned when Lily walks out of the hotel holding Tian's hand, confirming their affair. It's revealed that Lily, Tian, and Gina are conspiring to get Zhang's property before she and Tian get divorced. In the next scene, as Jung is driving, she recalls her mother's last advice: control her anger and avoid doing something regrettable. Just then, she receives a call from Tian inviting her to a lunch at a fancy hotel. Jung arrives at the hotel, where Tian introduces her to Diao Zheng, a prominent figure in the fashion industry. Jung sits down for lunch but becomes uneasy when Diao tries to touch her hand. Tian, however, is focused on securing a contract from Diao for his company. Tian then leaves the room, leaving Jung alone with Diao. When the creep tries to touch her again, she throws a glass of wine in his face and leaves the room. Tian tries to apologize to Diao for his wife's behavior, but to no avail. Meanwhile, Jung goes to Jiang Qi and tells him that she wants a divorce from Tian. Hearing this, Jiang Qi suggests that she have a clear understanding of her property and assets before doing so, as Tian can claim half of it after the divorce. Later, Jung goes to her office and tells her lawyer to give her all the information regarding her property and assets. To her shock, when the lawyer checks the family account, there is no money left in it. She learns that Tian has withdrawn all the money in small increments and has blocked her from getting the notifications. Jung then goes straight to Jiang Qi and tells him everything. After hearing her out, Jiang Qi tells her not to rush the divorce as they need to figure out what Tian is actually planning. The next day, Jung meets Lily and tells her that she is thinking of handing over her position to her when she takes her maternity leave. The latter gets really excited and prepares to complete any task that Jung is going to assign her. Our clever heroine urges Lily to close a deal for the company so that she can point out her dedication in front of others and refer her for the position. With the greed of being the head of the company, Lily agrees to the proposal and heads out to meet the client. At the meeting, Lily is unaware that the client is Diao. During their discussion about the contract, Diao suddenly behaves inappropriately and forces himself on her. Jung enters the room just in time, confronts Diao, and records a video of his harassment. She then takes Lily outside and apologizes for sending her there. Surprisingly, Lily still insists on completing the deal and decides to meet Diao again. Back at home, Jung shows the video to Tian. As soon as he sees Diao with Lily, he becomes enraged and blames Jung for sending Lily to meet the pervert. Jung defends herself, stating that she had no idea Diao would behave that way during the meeting. While they're talking, the doorbell rings and Tian goes to answer it. He is surprised to see a beggar-like man standing outside the gate. Surprisingly, Tian seems to recognize the beggar and asks why he's there. The beggar reveals that he is there for money and demands 50,000 won. Initially refusing to give in, Tian caves when the beggar threatens to expose information about Jung's mother's death. Later, the beggar receives 50,000 won in his bank account. In the following scene, Tian tries to convince a young model to do a nude photo shoot, but her boyfriend and companions enter the studio and confront him. In response, they force Tian to undress and take photos of him instead. Right then, Tian's mother and friends unexpectedly enter the studio and are shocked to see Tian in such a situation. While her friends record a video teasing her, Gina threatens the model's boyfriend to leave her son, and the group eventually exits the studio. Later at home, Tian notices Jung sitting on the couch and approaches her, asking her what happened. In response, the latter mentions that her beloved uncle has died, leaving her alone in the world. To console her, Tian mentions that he is with her, and he also asks what's to be done with her uncle's property, as he has no children. Jung replies that before dying, her uncle left his entire fortune to his caretaker. As soon as Tian hears this, he suggests Jung fight against it and claim the property as it belongs to her. Our heroine innocently agrees and decides to meet the caretaker. The next day, she arrives at her uncle's house with Jiang Qi. The latter tries to make the caretaker understand that she can't afford the taxes on the property and offers 5 million won to leave the house. The caretaker initially refuses, but later accepts their proposal. Afterward, Jung returns home and tells everything to Tian. The evil guy becomes happy at first, but when Jung mentions taking out 5 million won from their family's funds, he pauses for a while and asks her not to do so. He then confesses that he's already used up all the money from the account for his photo studio business. However, after hearing this, Jung suggests he sell his lenses and recoup the money as they cannot let the opportunity slip from their hands. Following this, Jung approaches her mother-in-law and mentions that she's going to buy her uncle's property in her name. She then suggests that Gina cash in on the sale of her old house. As expected, the greedy woman accepts right away as she dreams of being the owner of a luxurious house. However, it's revealed that Jung's uncle's house has already been remortgaged a couple times. Now, any buyer will have to clear the debts before claiming ownership. The scene then shifts to Jung's office, where she is announcing the promotion of Lily. To their surprise and dismay, the president of the company arrives and berates Lily for signing the deal with Diao and suggests they end it as soon as possible. She then fires Lily from the job for closing such a ridiculous deal and damaging the company's reputation. Hearing this, Lily is shocked and has no idea what has happened. Outside, she talks to Jung and accuses her of ruining her professional career. She then brings up their childhood when she lost a school scholarship due to Jung's mother. After babbling for a while, Lily walks away, but not before warning Jung that she will ruin her life and take revenge for whatever she did to her. Following this, Lily goes straight to Tian and kisses him aggressively, telling him everything that happened to her. To lift her mood, he shows her the agreement of their new property and mentions that soon he is going to divorce Jung. After this, the two get intimate, and unbeknownst to them, Jung enters the room and begins recording. Soon, Tian notices her and tries to explain, but it's too late. Jung then makes it clear that she wants a divorce, and Tian agrees. In the next scene, Tian is at their new house with his mother when the bank manager arrives along with his team and begins taking pictures. Surprised, Tian walks up to him and asks what he's doing. In reply, the bank staff tells him that the house is soon going to get auctioned, so they need pictures of it. A shocked Tian makes it clear that they just bought the house from a real estate agent, and Gina shows them the papers. Unfortunately, the bank staff tells them that the house has been mortgaged multiple times and is in foreclosure, so the owner must clear the debt of 20 million won before gaining ownership of the house. As soon as Gina hears this, she loses consciousness and falls to the floor. Meanwhile, Jung and Jianqi meet the caretaker and hand her 5 million won for the house. Right then, Tian arrives there and accuses Jung of taking all his money and making him homeless. He plays the sympathy card and tells Jung that they are still partners and begs her to help him as he does not have the money to pay for his mother's medical bills. He also reminds Jung how he helped her mother during her hard times and suggests she return the favor. The scene then flashes to the past where Jung's mother is in the hospital battling cancer. The woman tells her daughter that her last wish is to see her marry a decent guy and get settled in her life. After this request, Lily, who has been Jung's friend since childhood, introduces her to Tian, and slowly the two start getting closer. Eventually they get married, fulfilling the woman's wish. At present, Jung goes to the hospital to meet Tian's mom, but notices Lily taking care of her. She then visits the hospital counter and clears the bills. Before she leaves, Jung reminds Tian to attend court the following day to discuss their divorce. Following this, Tian enters the hospital room and relays everything to Lily. The latter cunningly suggests that he should not divorce Jung until he gets half of the property from her, and Tian agrees. Right then, the beggar-like man named Jin appears at the hospital door and laughs at them. Tian notices him and talks to him, making it clear that he doesn't have any money at present to offer him. In response, Jin again threatens to reveal the secret about Jung's mother's death. Hearing this, Tian agrees to pay him, but asks Jin to give him some time to arrange the money. Unbeknownst to them, Jung is keeping an eye on them and remembers Jin as the caretaker who was looking after her mother before she died. Later that day, Jung notices Jin walking on the road and from behind him, calls him by his name. The latter turns around and recognizes her immediately. Jung then asks him to reveal the real cause of her mother's death. However, to her dismay, Jin doesn't tell her anything and prepares to walk away. At the same time, Jung pulls out a stack of money from her bag and offers it to him. Despite this, he refuses to tell her anything and suggests she give him 5 million won to divulge the truth. Desperate to know, Jung agrees to the payment and asks him to meet her the following day at a cafe. The next day, when Jung is waiting for Jin to arrive at the cafe, Tian walks in, surprising her. He goes straight to her and tells her that the person she is waiting for will never come to meet her again. Meanwhile, the waitresses talk about a drunk guy found dead near a river. As soon as Jung hears this, she approaches them and watches the news, only to find out that the dead guy is none other than Jin. Frightened, she immediately leaves, while Tian lets out a devilish smile, indicating that he is behind the death. Following this, Jung meets with Jianqi and asks him to help her collect evidence against Tian and Lily relating to her mother's death. Jianqi agrees and goes to her house to meet the evil duo, with the intent of secretly recording them. Straight away, he confronts them for killing Jin. However, to his surprise, the duo doesn't react to this, and he is forced to insult Lily, calling her a concubine. As soon as Lily hears this, she gets angry and shouts that Jung is a concubine and not her. Here, Lily reveals that she and Tian have been together since the beginning. She also discloses that their ultimate plan is to take hold of Jung's property. Unbeknownst to them, our heroine is sitting in the car, listening to all of this, as she had already placed a listening device under the table in the house. Later at night, Jianqi returns home and apologizes to Jung for not being able to help her. But to his surprise, the latter shows him the entire recording and plans to use it as evidence against them in court. After this, Jung looks around Jianqi's room and finds an engagement ring. She asks him if he loves someone and is thinking of getting married. In reply, he reveals that he is actually in love with someone, but on the day he thought of proposing to her, his father got severely ill and he couldn't do so. Here it's revealed that the girl he thought of proposing to is none other than Jung. Afterward, Jung prepares to leave, but Jianqi stops her, mentioning that it's not safe as she is carrying the evidence against Tian. He suggests that she spend the night at his house while he sleeps with his father. Jung agrees to it, and Jiangqi offers her a glass of milk to drink before sleeping. The next day, both parties arrive at the court, and Jiangqi mentions that he will uncover the truth by playing the evidence he has. But to everyone's surprise, when he plays the video, it turns out to be him romancing Jung last night. In another twist of events, it's revealed that Jiangqi mixed some pills in Jung's milk, and after she fell asleep, he snuck into her bed and recorded the video. Here we learn that Jiangqi was threatened by Tian to do so, as he was also involved in Jung's mother's death. Enraged, Jung approaches Jiangqi and slams him for betraying her. At the same time, when Lily speaks foul about her character, Jung slaps her in front of everyone, accusing her of all the troubles. Tian tries to protect Lily, but he gets a slap as well. Enraged, he pushes Jung, causing her to slip and hit her head on the edge of the table and knocking her unconscious. Seeing this, Tian immediately carries her to the hospital. Her treatment goes on for a while, and sometime later, the doctor informs Tian that Jung has slipped into a coma. Hearing this, Lily becomes happy and suggests Tian look after her like a good husband and enjoy using her property while they can. The following day, Lily and Tian take Jung to the house and subject her to different situations to make sure she's not faking and is actually in a coma. Unbeknownst to them, when the duo goes out of their room to get intimate, Jung wakes up and begins using her phone, making it clear that she's acting. Suddenly, she notices someone approaching her room and goes back to sleep. Soon, Jiangqi enters the room and comes closer to her, expressing his love for her. Jung doesn't react, but pushes an item from the table, making a loud noise. Tian hears this and immediately rushes to the room, only to find Jiangqi on top of his wife. This unexpectedly angers him, and he starts beating Jiangqi. Just then, Lily arrives and reveals that she was the one who called Jiangqi to let him express his love for Jung. Surprisingly, this makes Tian even angrier, and he shouts that Jung is still his wife. The next day, when Tian and Lily are out, Jung takes the opportunity to go to the hospital. There, she meets her doctor and asks him to look into her mother's death. After studying the report, the doctor tells her that the report is normal. Jung then asks him to provide CCTV footage from inside her mother's hospital room. To her shock, when she looks at it, she finds Jiangqi standing outside the room on the night of her death. Following this, Jung visits Jiangqi's house at night and confronts him for betraying her. She urges him to tell the truth about her mother's death and what he saw that night. Having no other choices left, Jiangqi then shows her a video from the night where Lily and Tian are killing her mother inside the hospital. Seeing the video, Jung gets emotional and asks him why he didn't call the police after that. In reply, Jiangqi tells her that he was worried about his father's health and was in need of money. He reveals that he used the video to blackmail Tian and extort money for his father's treatment. Hearing this, Jiangqi's father also comes out of his room and belittles his son for taking part in such a heinous act. Unfortunately, he suffers a heart attack and dies on the spot. The next morning, Tian wakes up and is shocked to find Jung missing from her room. To his surprise, she appears at the door and accuses them of killing her mother. Tian's mother has no idea about this and seems clueless about what Jung is saying. However, when Jung shows her the video of Tian and Lily brutally killing her mother, she is rendered speechless and apologizes for her son's actions. Gina also reveals that Lily is responsible for everything, as she encouraged Tian to take part in such terrible acts. Upon hearing this, Lily becomes angry and slaps Gina. Tian intervenes to protect his mother and grabs Lily by the neck, pushing her towards the kitchen counter. Lily, though, manages to get a hold of a knife and stabs him. Gina rushes to save her son, but gets brutally stabbed, resulting in her immediate death. After this, Lily cruelly plunges the knife into Tian's heart while laughing maniacally. The show ends with Jung walking away from the house. In the background, a voice informs us that Jung received a 10-year prison sentence, while Lily is sentenced to life for her actions.